Hello everyone and welcome to my rose tutorial. This is Rosie from Fine Lines Face and Body Art. Today I'm going to show you how I do my basic rose, my full headed rose, not a bud but a big full rose. I'd just like to say before we start that this is how I do it. There are hundreds and thousands of artists out there who do it their own way, so there are also hundreds and thousands of other ways to do it. But this is the way I feel comfortable doing it, and maybe it'll help you. This is what I'm using today. It's a homemade one-stroke cake with Tag Regular Berry, Tag Regular Red, and DFX Essential White. It doesn't really matter which one-stroke cake you like best or you like to use, but what I would say is it seems to work best if you have white at one end and a really dark colour of your choice on the other side. The brush I'm going to use today is a short angled 3/4 inch brush from the face painting shop. It has fairly short bristles. I have in the past used normal chisel brushes, but also longer haired angled brushes as well. They all work really well. It just depends on your preference. But this one does feel good in the hand, so I'll use that today. So let's get started. I've loaded the brush with the white at the long end of the brush, the long hairs, and it's taking up maybe about 1/4 of the width of the brush. I'm going to start with a pattern of 5 petal shapes, sort of scallop shapes. Here you can see I'm giving them a bit of a wiggle. You don't have to, but it does make quite a nice pretty pattern in the outside petals. You'll get used to, the more you do the roses, you'll get used to how wide they need to be to make a proper circle of 5. If you make them very small, then they'll fit together closer and you'll have a smaller rose. If you make the petals bigger, they'll obviously create a bigger rose with a gap in the middle, as you can see here. So this is a fairly big rose. I think it's worth mentioning that in order to get a really beautiful rose that pops out of the skin, it's worth keeping the white edge of your paint really freshly white, bright white. Can have a little bit of pink mixed in, but really light, so that the edges of the rose petals really pop out at you. So during this tutorial I'm actually going to reload quite a few times. I'm also going to add 2 scallop shaped petals inside of the original 5 at about 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock just as an extra layer. They can actually go quite close to the edge of the original petals. Okay, so let's have a go at the central part of the rose. We need to do a nice smooth petal. I'm going to do 3 here, just so we can have a few goes at it. It's worth mentioning as well that here I'm actually holding the brush fairly flat onto the skin, just so the camera can get the right angle. But ideally, when you're doing it, you need to hold it fairly upright so you don't catch the edge of the brush on the skin. So we've done the petal shape, but now you're going to put the brush, hold the brush onto the edge of the petal shape you just made, push down very slightly, pull the brush down, move the brush down, and then give it a flick at the end, back upwards. So let's try it again. Hold it on the edge, push it down, and flick up. You can see there, because I wasn't holding the brush upright, that hasn't given a very clean end to the flick. It's got a bit blobby. But if you were holding it upright, then you would get a really nice clean upward flick. And you get a nice twirly bit in the middle of the rose. So let's put the middle bit on our rose here. So we have the upwards petal, nice rounded petal. And here comes the pushing down on the edge. Pull it down and a flick upwards. You get a nice flick. Okay, let's put some more petals on. Now, the petals near the centre of the rose are much more upright and close to the swirly bit in the middle. As they move outwards, they become flatter and often bigger as well. So we're going to try and do that with our one stroke. So let's put the paintbrush perpendicular to the skin, press it down slightly so that it flattens, and then drag it sideways. Try again on the left hand side, going towards the middle. So we put paintbrush on the skin, push it down and drag it sideways. And when you drag sideways, you can lift the side of the paintbrush with the darker colours up a little bit, so that the colour is really dragged by the white side, and you get much more white colour than dark colour. And then as we come away from the centre of the rose, the petals get fatter and bigger. So brush onto the skin, push down even more and drag even more, and you can leave more of the darker colours on there this time. So brush on the skin, push down and drag. It'll become clear when I show you on the actual rose how this goes. Here come the small petals. I'm going to start right next door to the twirly bit. Move my arm a bit for you. Right next door to the twirly bit, hold it down and drag it sideways, and it's really the white colour that's being dragged sideways here. The other thing I'd like to say is, if you look at a real rose petals overlap. They don't touch each other, they overlap. So that's what I'm trying to do here, is actually give them an overlapping look. And I'm going to carry on putting petals on, getting bigger and bigger until I feel there's enough on there. And there we have it, a rose. I realise I haven't done anything on leaves or rose buds, but I think we'll leave that till next time. Thanks ever so much for watching. Keep practicing. Some of your roses will turn out amazingly, some of them will be duds, but the more you do it, the better they'll get. Any questions or comments, then leave them below and I'll get back to you. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.